All right, let's talk about building trading algorithms. We're going to dive into a totally new way of thinking about it. See, we're moving away from that chaotic trial and error coding world and stepping into the structured, deliberate world of an engineer. This is the architect's blueprint.
So, you get that light bulb moment, right? A brilliant idea for a trading strategy hits you. What's the very first thing you do? Well, for most of us, the instinct is to fire up the code editor and just start banging away at the keyboard. But what if I told you that very first step is your single biggest mistake?
And look, that's not just my opinion. The material we're looking at today is crystal clear on this. Jumping straight into the code without a solid plan is, and I'm quoting here, a recipe for disaster. It is literally the #1 reason why so many aspiring traders flame out before they even get started. You know, the problem usually isn't a lack of coding skill or even a bad trading idea. The real problem is the process. It's totally flawed. It's a mindset that puts frantic action way ahead of thoughtful architecture, and it always leads to the same place: endless bugs, total frustration, and yeah, blown accounts. Okay, let's really dig into this because this slide just nails the core idea. On the left, you've got the coder. This is the person who dives right in, gets tangled up in a nightmare of bug fixes, and is basically running on guesswork and hope. But on the right, you have the architect. They design the plan first. They build on a solid foundation. They approach the entire thing with logic and engineering. Our whole goal today is to show you how to be the architect. So how do we actually make that shift? Well, it all starts with the first of our 3 pillars, the blueprint. This is where the real work happens, where you do the heavy lifting and thinking, structuring your entire strategy before you even think about a single line of code. And the heart of that blueprint is what's called the spec phase. It sounds technical, but it's actually incredibly simple and so powerful. All you're doing is translating your fuzzy market idea, like I want to trade divergences, into a rock-solid step-by-step plan, in plain English. And the key phrase here is without ambiguity. Every single condition has to be perfectly clear. Now, what's really cool is how this breaks down the whole spec phase into 3 simple, manageable parts. First up, the trend condition. How do you actually mathematically define the market environment you want to be in? Second, the entry trigger. What is the exact event that makes you pull the trigger on a trade? And third, of course, risk management. Where's your stop loss? Where are you taking profits? You have to be able to write this stuff down clearly. And this right here, this quote, is the ultimate test. It's the golden rule of this entire process. If you can't explain exactly how your strategy works in a few simple sentences, there is absolutely zero chance you'll be able to translate it into clean, working code. It's just not going to happen. Okay, let's keep building on this. So once your blueprint is done, you might be tempted to jump right into backtesting. But hold on. There's a crucial step in between. That's pillar 2, the sanity check. This is all about visually checking your logic on a real chart. This is such a massive trap. So many of us get obsessed with all the numbers on the left. Sharp ratios, net profit, all that abstract data. But those numbers can lie to you. The real insight, the truth, comes from just watching the behavior on the right. Did the algorithm actually buy where you expected it to? Is it smart enough to avoid those really obvious choppy zones you wanted to filter out? So here's the bottom line. Visual validation isn't about performance, it's about verification. You're just putting a simple script on your chart to see one thing. Do its actions actually match your plain English blueprint? It's that final sanity check to make sure your logic is sound before you go all in on building the system or risk a single dollar of your capital. Okay, so you've got a structured plan, you've visually confirmed it actually makes sense on a chart. Now we can finally write some code, but we're gonna do it the smart way. This is pillar 3, the AI assistant, which is like a superpower for this whole process. But here's the catch, and it's a big one. AI lives and dies by one simple rule: garbage in, garbage out. As you can see here, a lazy, vague prompt like "make me a trading bot" is gonna get you, well, garbage. But a specific, constrained, technical prompt, that's how you get clean, high-quality code that actually works. So what's the secret sauce for a technical prompt? Well, this slide breaks it down perfectly. First, you give the AI a role, some context, like act as a PineScript expert. Then you give it clear rules, constraints, like telling it which indicators to use. Third, you define your variables. And finally, you tell it exactly how you want the output to look. You're basically just feeding your super detailed blueprint from pillar 1 directly to the AI. All right, let's pull this all together. These aren't just 3 separate random tips. When you combine them, they create a complete engineering framework. This is what takes you out of that world of guesswork and puts you firmly in the world of professional development. And here it is, the entire playbook in 3 simple logical steps. Step 1, you architect the logic with a blueprint. Step 2, you run that sanity check by visually validating it. And only then, step 3, do you use that blueprint to generate the code with technical prompting. Structure, validate, generate. That's the system. And this is the big transformation we've been talking about. This framework is what separates the amateur who's just hoping for the best from the professional who engineers a predictable result. It is a fundamental, game-changing shift in your entire approach. Now, to help you put this framework into action, like right now, the creator of this system put together a fantastic technical prompting checklist. It literally walks you through every piece of a high-quality prompt, making sure you feed the AI the right info every single time. The link to download it is right there in the description below. So, this really just leaves us with one final thought. You've seen the framework. You know the difference between a fragile idea and a robustly engineered system. The only question left is the one you see on your screen right now. Will you be the architect?